Nonverbal communication differences occur between cultures because of how different people around the world interpret actions in social interaction. Understanding the cultural differences in nonverbal communication is important for those with a goal to work in international business. Types of nonverbal communication vary based on culture and country, but the areas of differences tend to fall within the following 8 areas. Each provides an area where people doing business in other parts of the world should understand the nonverbal communication differences between cultures and how to prepare for them. Eye contact. Eye contact signals confidence in the West, but can be seen as rude or challenging in parts of Asia and the Middle East. Also, there are gender rules in eye contact around many Eastern cultures, discouraging women to make eye contact with men as it conveys authority or sexual interest. Touch. Touch often is used frequently in communication, even in a business setting, with customs such as a handshake. But other cultures consider touching other people inappropriate. Those who live in Asia tend to take a more conservative approach when it comes to touching, with a bow typically replacing a handshake. Another example of differences with touching is patting someone in the head. In the US, it is seen as endearing and shows affection with children. But in some Asian cultures, touching children or adults in the head is disrespectful. The US is more conservative in other areas, such as not kissing on the cheek as they do in many other parts of Europe. Gestures. Many business people who work internationally discipline themselves to keep hand gestures to a minimum. For example, pointing at someone else is an insult in most parts of the world, but in some places it is often simply used as a reference. Polynesians stick out their tongue to greet people, but that doesn't fly in other parts of the world. The most common gesture in the world is a nod, but even that can mean different things in other cultures. Physical distance. The rule of thumb here, no matter where you are in the world, is to give people more space than you think they might need. Only get close if invited. People in different cultures views physical distance differently. However, it's best never to enter anyone's personal space about 2 feet. If it's not personal intimacy, many people find such proximity uncomfortable. Facial expressions. The good news is that facial expressions for happiness, sadness, anger, and fear are universal. The bad news is that not every culture is okay with using them in a business setting. The Japanese, for example, try to remain a neutral facial expression, believing that showing your emotions burdens the other person. Appearance. Conservative attire is the safest bet. For some places in the United States are fine with very relaxed appearances, while others even see an exposed shoulder or leg as a cause for offense. The best choice is to simply dress conservatively. You can also loosen up your wardrobe if it becomes apparent that it is acceptable. Posture. Again, the traditional route is the best route. Don't slouch when sitting or sit with legs crossed. Face people as they speak to you and not enough to show that you are paying attention to what they say. Stay mindful of where you sit in meetings. In some cultures, there's a strict hierarchy for who gets to sit where. Paralanguage. Paralanguage refers to communication that is vocalized but not words. This includes the tone of voice, loudness, speed of speech, and inflection. Paralanguage is the key to understand the context or meaning of the words used. It's important to be mindful of these issues and to understand they are not discernible in emails and texts, so great care must be used in the words you choose. High context versus low context. Another way to help with understanding the cultural difference in nonverbal communication is understanding the difference between high context and low context cultures. High context cultures rely more on nonverbal communication than low context cultures. They use personal relationships, social hierarchies, and cultural knowledge to convey meaning. In low context cultures, words are more important. Communication is direct. Relationships begin and end quickly, and hierarchies are relaxed. For those who aspire to work in an international business, understanding these nonverbal communication differences between cultures is the key to success.